everyone, I'm Ricka Tijerina, one of your candidates for Mayor of Palmhurst. There are a few things that I want to discuss with you today. And of course, the first is that tomorrow is our first day of early voting. It'll run through Friday, August 5th, and our official election day is Wednesday, August 10th. You can cast your ballot at Rafael Cantu Junior High School on Stewart Road, and I will be number 3 on the ballot. This is my first time running for office. My family moved to Palmhurst when I was 12 or 13 years old, and after high school I studied in New York City. After 4 years there, I had completed a double major degree in political science and media criticism and analysis. My goal was to one day finish my law degree, which I did, and use my education and anything else that I could bring to the table into politics. As a campaign manager, never as a candidate. What I didn't realize then was that when it comes to something or somewhere that you truly care about, you want to do all that you can to help. So I decided to run. I wanted to remind you all before you cast your ballot what I stand for in Palmhurst. I believe that every citizen should be able to easily inform themselves on what is going on inside City Hall. We have a website. Let's update it and let's use it. There's no reason why we should have to visit a bulletin board or make a formal request for documents that affect the lives of each resident. We have the internet. Let's stream the meetings. Let's post the meeting minutes when they're available. Let's approve the meeting minutes in the next meeting, not making bulk approvals of 2 years' worth of meetings. Let's make Palmhurst an attractive place to business owners. We're able to keep the city property taxes out because of them. So let's fill up the empty spaces in our business district. Let's give franchises or larger businesses a website that truly shows the beauty of Palmhurst. I will always prioritize the safety of Palmhurst residents, and I'll do that through supporting our first responders, illuminating our roads, and keeping our streets clean. I will always make sure to ensure that we have a healthy fund balance, including an emergency fund for natural disasters such as freezes or hurricanes, or public health emergencies such as pandemics. And while my opponents may criticize my lack of experience in political office, I embrace the fact that I am not a politician, and I believe that there should be more non-politicians running for office. There should be more people involved in our government that are more concerned with the next generation than they are with the next election. There should be more people in office who care more about the safety of their communities than the safety of their seats. Lastly, I wanted to discuss some of the political messages that have been texted, posted online, in newspapers, and mailed out. Having grown up in the Rio Grande Valley, I know how political races can get. We're all fiercely passionate when it comes to politics. And I know that sometimes that passion can be distorted into what we call dirty politics. I want to point out that 3 out of the 4 candidates signed what is called the Fair Campaign Practices Act. This is the copy I signed. Please excuse the handwriting, but I wanted to point out a few things about this document. Starting with the preamble, it states, there are basic principles of decency, honesty, and fair play that every candidate and political committee in this state has a moral obligation to observe and uphold, in order that, after vigorously contested but fairly conducted campaigns, our citizens may exercise their constitutional rights to a free and untrammeled choice, and the will of the people may be fully and clearly expressed on the issues. So in signing this document, the first thing that I agreed to was that I will conduct the campaign openly and publicly and limit attacks on my opponent to legitimate challenges to my opponent's record and stated position on the issues. Now, in this election, I am the only candidate who has not served on any council, board, or commission that affects Palmhurst. My stated opinions and my issues are what they are and will never change. I will say that perhaps the one thing that has changed since this election began is my opinion on City Hall has been operating. My campaign began requesting meeting minutes and planning and zoning minutes along with all financial documents and audits, and this happened shortly after I decided to run. I wanted to know what the current state of things were. and this was not an easy job. Under the Texas Public Information Act, the city had 10 days to produce the documents. Each time I requested, they took that full time, despite the spirit of the law being that if the information requested was easily accessible, they should produce it as soon as possible. Further, the city was resistant to producing any meeting minutes that had not yet been approved. For the Planning and Zoning Committee, that was nearly 2 years worth of minutes. And this, of course, strengthened my position on our need for transparency in our city government. I have since posted all information that I have received on my website, rickaformayor.com, if you guys want to give it a look-see. But last week, I also sent out a memo regarding the most recent meeting. I was already troubled by the planning and zoning meeting minutes I had read when I noticed how many variances were being granted by the candidate who has emphasized his belief in 1-acre lot minimums the most. Something that is solidified in our city ordinances. My memo is about a tabling that occurred at the last meeting. The request was against our ordinances and was also stated in the property's deed restrictions. 3 neighbors had attended the meeting to voice their opposition, and even after a suggestion by the city planner to deny the request, Fred Del Barrio instead motioned to table it. He responded with his own memo of sorts, including my photo. He finally brought up transparency, but he also called my statement dirty politics. And I will remind you, while Fred did not, I did agree to conduct my campaign openly and publicly and limit my attacks on my opponent to legitimate challenges to their record and stated positions on issues. And that is exactly what I did. As for the second thing that I agreed to by signing the Fair Campaign Practices Act, I will not use or permit the use of character defamation, whispering campaigns, libel, slander, or any other attacks on any candidates or the candidate's personal or family life. Yesterday, a series of texts were sent out to many Palmhurst voters. The final message came from Fred Del Barrio and contained the headline, "The dirty politics gets dirtier." As the ad referring to me is still running with the headline, "Our city is above dirty politics," I simply wanted to take a moment and make it clear that I am in no way involved with the text messages he's speaking of. I want to thank you all for listening, and I hope to see you all soon.